All right, fans, back with us today. He is an E's and B's veteran, returning to tell his amazing story from the mountain peaks of Hyden to the valley drop of the lows. My next guest has a feel-good story for you, ladies and gentlemen, from Fort Collins, Colorado. I give to you, everybody needs one, Remy Dee.
What's up, baby? You making me feel good. We had the church up in here. He's like from the valleys to the lows and stuff. Good.
That's right, my man. That's right. Welcome back to the E's and B's podcast. So good to have you back, of course, on this very, very special edition. We've got a feel-good story for all those listeners out there. And if you do not know, Remy Dee, of course, being an E's and B's veteran, was on about a year ago to tell his story, his venture in the wrestling world. And let me just tell you, boy, what a story it is. And we're going to break it down today because, like I said there in the opening, we went from the peaks to the lows. And I think right now where we're standing, we're on that valley back or on that drive back to the top. So let's get started. Are you ready, my friend?
Let's go, baby.
All right. Like I said, Remy Dee joined us here on the E's and B's about a year ago to tell us a little bit about his wrestling start. And what it was my friend here was getting ready to head off to his first ever wrestling training camp there at the Black and Brave in Iowa, also known as the Seth Rollins camp. And I'll leave it from right there and let you take over. Remy, go right ahead.
Yeah. So I can't believe it's been like over a year and some change since the last time we talked. But yeah, at the beginning of 2020, I had decided I was ready for like a career change and just to pursue something because, age starts to, become more of a factor. Not for me, but, you have to think about certain things. So I'm like, you know what? I really want to take on this whole wrestling dream that up until I want to say probably college or like probably high school, I really wanted to pursue, but my family was realistic. You got into a good school, so you're going to go to college and get your degree, so you can make some good money. So I respect my elders, so that's what I did. So, but yeah, I decided in 2020 I was going to do it. Then, of course, everyone knows the pandemic hit in March, and my mother, who is an oncology nurse, shout out to all those medical professionals, the nurses, EMTs, all out there. Keep doing you. Thank you for all that you do. She ended up catching COVID. And this was like right at the very beginning before anyone knew how it affected you, what was going on and everything. And my mom's like me. She's 61 years young, works out like a workhorse, like just looks good for her age. And this thing almost took her out. So she ended up giving it to my stepdad and also my 80-year-old grandmother who lived with them at the time. Was very, very sick. Thankfully, she made it. It was very, very rough for a second, but unfortunately, my stepdad didn't make it. My grandmother, she pulled through, thankfully. So that really put things into perspective. I went through some mental things and everything because it was very, very quick. So yeah, I had made that decision because my father, my stepdad and I, we were very much wrestling fans growing up. And even together, that's how our bond really became when him and my mom married. He was always a Stone Cold fan. I was always a Taker fan. To the day I leave this earth, I will always be Taker will be my number one. So we had our like little rivalry. So that was kind of put into perspective that I really wanted to pursue this because life was too short. So fast forward that, I decided to apply to get into Black and Brave, Seth Rollins School in Iowa. Got in, thankfully, by the grace of God. I don't know how, but and then a month or so after that, my biological father passes away unexpectedly. So yeah, like losing two parents like so close together, that was like, it was crazy. It was very surreal in the midst of a pandemic, not being able to be around my loved ones, to have that time for grieving and, to be loved on and to, but so I had no idea. So all my dreams for that kind of like got put on the side burner because, my family needed me, my mom needed me, etc. So I had to cancel those plans to go to Iowa. But lo and behold, I never knew that Rocky Mountain Pro like existed in Colorado and Denver. Now I knew that they did matches and everything, but at the time, their website, and we talked about this, so I can say it. I can be a little petty. Their website was so out of date; it was so obsolete. So it was. So I guess I can see how Google didn't even know how to use it as a wrestling academy per se. But then I guess they someone sent an email to me. Don't know who this person was. I don't know how it was like an algorithm or something, but somehow I got like an email about wrestling. Want to learn how to wrestle, and I'm like, thinking this place is like in like Ohio or Florida or something like that. It's like, no, right here in Denver. So I contacted Mercury Yaton, who is the owner, also awesome individual. Reached out, said there was going to be an open house. Coincidentally, it was on the day that I was supposed to leave for Iowa, but that's when the open house went. So I went there. We talked, and it was like me and like several other individuals. He's let us know what the program was and everything, and let us know what the strength and conditioning testing day was. And the rest was history from there. I just showed up, and it was funny because it was like out of six or seven of us, only two of us made it. And one was myself, and the other one was one of the reps now for RMP. We were the only ones that like made it. And once they found out that I was 35, they were like, we need to see an ID. Because they were just like, because apparently I didn't know I set like two records or something for the school since it's been open as far as the strength and conditioning. Not even knowing. Like I just know how I train, and I just translated that to what it was asked of me, and but so then I started training in January. Then comes April 1st, April Fool's Day. I'm training in the ring. We're doing up and over drills in the corner turnbuckle, and I'm getting ready to run. Like, not even doing anything. I'm literally getting ready to run. And all of a sudden you hear this loud ass snap. And I just fell to the ground. And then my coach I think it was Curtis Cole, who was doing the drills with us. He's like, what the hell was that noise? Like looking around. And I'm like on the ground. I'm like, I knew that was my leg. I can laugh about it now, but so my Achilles tendon completely snapped in half. And our strength and conditioning coach at the time, Scotty, normally was a guy that was very jokingly serious about the regimen, but he was more so like a joke, kind of happy-go-lucky kind of guy. But his whole demeanor just like changed, and I guess he knew my work ethic, so he's like, "Dude, Remy, I know you want this isn't a walk it off kind of thing. We got to get you to the hospital, but I don't want you to look at it." And I'm like freaking out. I'm like, "Why can't I look at it?" So after he got my shoe off, yeah, it was just kind of like dangling there. And then my toes, I've never seen something swell up so badly. Like my toes look like Vienna sausages. Ugh. Yeah, and it was rough. But one thing that I will say, I love being a part of Rocky Mountain Pro. Those guys and gals, they embraced me. When it happened, they were just like empathetic, sympathetic. I mean, one of the guys, so just to protect kayfabe, I'm not gonna say who it is, but he got just like literally picked my big ass up and carried me to the car. And then Yaden took us, stayed with me at the hospital, which I have so much love for that man, because he had only known me like a month or two, and you would have thought that we had been student and coach for years. We got to know one another in the emergency room, and he has a family of his own, but he literally stayed with me the whole night. And that was just like, that's where I knew that was my confirmation that I was in the place that I was supposed to be. So from then I had surgery that following Thursday. And the doctor was just like, just because it kind of sort of rolled up a little bit into my calf. So he was like saying, it's going to be a long recovery. Just based on how much damage was done, it would be like 8 months to a year. You may have a limp for a little bit and not know how long it's going to last, but that's just, and I'm just like, it was just the most depressing, darkest time, because up until that point, it was just loss after loss after loss, whether it was in a individual opportunity. And at the time, also, I was in a long-term relationship. But once I told them I wanted to pursue wrestling, not even saying it as like a full-time thing, just to dabble in to see how I did, they decided to break up with me via email.
Mm-hmm. The worst way to do it.
Who the hell does that?
Man,
like, did you really just per my last email me? Like, so that already, I was in, yeah. So it was a very long summer. being in my mind because I wasn't working for several reasons, but it was very dark. And I unfortunately I had a moment where I contemplated taking myself out of this world. Like I was just done. And I was just like, Lord, if this is like what the rest of my life is going to be, because I was like, what have I done? So I'm like, I try to give up myself. I try to, take care of my community, my family, friends, and everything. So it's like, did I piss somebody off in another life? Do I need to atone for something? So I was ready, but it's weird how grace and life works, because right when I was going to make that decision, my mother and my brother, who I had seen, who we physically haven't been together at that point since 2019, they randomly called me like, yo, we're coming to see you for Mother's Day weekend. And I was just like, just bawled, because I knew I just got done talking to them on the phone weeks before, and I thought that was going to be it. And they said, hey, we're coming to see you. And so that was like my sign that I'm not supposed to go anywhere. Like I have stuff to do, and it's a very selfish thing for me, in my view, that I would have thought about putting my mother through something like that again, taken away. And she calls my brother and I, we're her seeds, we're her gifts. And to think that I possibly could have taken that away from her, to this day, that gets to me, that makes me feel selfish. But we talked about it. We had a very candid conversation when she was here, where we talked about it openly and honestly. And I had to say, I had to ask for forgiveness. I'm like, I'm sorry, Mama, I was going to put you there, because she had no idea at all. She just had to want to know, she had that feeling. She's like, I need to go see my baby. And it doesn't matter how old we get, my brother and I, she'll always call her baby. We're like, Ma, we grown ass men. You can't call us your babies. But I'm so thankful for her and my brother, because they literally saved my life. And that gave me the encouragement to see through this whole this therapy, which was the most painful thing ever. Like they had me on pain meds, but it was just so depressing, because I couldn't do anything. I was pretty much in the house all summer. My foot was up because it would hurt to keep it like at a downward position, but to keep the swelling down. For those of you who've never incurred and never, had a Achilles tendon injury or ruptured Achilles tendon, it's on another level. Like I kind of wish, I shouldn't say knock on wood, I feel like it would have been more convenient to have a broken ankle at that point, because that's like six weeks and you're good.
Right back at it after 6 weeks. Yeah,
exactly. But I'm at that point that I'm like, so if I'm worthy enough to have my mother encourage me still, to say, you still got you, this is just the beginning, you have to get through those valleys, there's highways and byways. So I decided, what, I'm going to do this therapy thing. And it's a weird thing. And I would also say that therapy helped, because, growing up, they always just say therapy made it such a negative type of thing when you had to go see a therapist or talk to someone. It's like, those are for crazy people, or for me, in my generation growing up, it was like always the uncles and cousins. They were like, be a man, don't be a wimp, don't be a wuss, don't cry, men don't cry, which is like the most toxic thing you can do, is internalize all that guilt, all that trauma, all those insecurities. Because for me, I'm a Pisces, I already internalize a lot. But when you piss me off or you get me riled up, it's like release the Kraken, because I'm the nicest person up to a certain point. And I think that's also what helps the Remy character, because it's very much so me. It's like I'm all just, smiling, giggles, and jokingly and everything, until you take me to that next page. Then we have a problem. Right. See, I come from the era of nuck if you buck. So we'll throw hands if necessary. Not condoning violence, but yeah, it was just all summer. I really wanted to set a realistic goal, because I had stuff I needed to do. I had goals that I wanted to get back in the ring. I wanted to train, because up until that point, before I got hurt, I think I was supposed to debut in May-ish.
Yeah, but we were right around the corner. That's for sure.
Yeah, and then this just sidelined me. But I say the pros of this was I really got to sit down and not only collect my own thoughts and clean out all that closet of clutter of mental trauma, grief and everything, but I really got to focus on who Remy Dee is. Like, I already had the name, but it's like, what is this character going to give? What is this person going to give? And I couldn't figure it out. And I'm just like, I just had to get on a very plain, simple playing field. I'm like, why are you thinking so much about it? You are Remy. Look at your own personality. Add a little pettiness, sass, and aggression, and and that is you. You don't have to do much. And to look back over my life, even in high school when I used to do musicals and plays and things of that nature, and looking to my college days where I did cheerleading for 5 years, where the athleticism came in, it's like, that's who I am. It's the perfect combination of, physicality and also that mental, that voice of where they can just talk the talk and walk the walk. Yeah. It's like someone called me and I remember a while ago, someone said, it's like, you're a beauty and a beast. You're such a pretty man. I'm like, well, thanks, but you could also throw hands. Exactly. So, and that's how Remy Dee came about. It's like, I want to be a Remy Dee to, whether it's not just entertainment, but just to like we're doing now, to encourage people, to be a remedy, to encourage mental health, depression. If you're going through hard times, helping put a smile on your face, which is what I've done for the past 13 years being in the entertainment industry. So like I digress a little bit. So going back to the recovery, like I said, I wanted to be back in the ring by, it was October. And I want to give a shout out to Edge, WWE legend, iconic Edge, because I had researched, apparently he had tore his Achilles tendon, ironically, when he was 35 as well. But when I tell you, there was like literally, I met every negative Nancy, every sensitive Sally, Betty, Buzzkill, Kevin, Karen, Kylie, Chad, were just so negative about this injury. Like I remember I was going into surgery and it's like getting checked in. And this one older gentleman, he was like, hobbling on a walker. And he's like, hey son, what happened to you? And I'm just like, oh, I ruptured my Achilles tendon. And he's like, oh, you're screwed. And I'm just like, dude, I will break your hip. Don't with my one good foot. And that was just like, you know what? I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. It's like, I don't have time for the BS. I'm going to focus on me. And then there were more people like, well, you don't have Edge's money. He's a billionaire. He can afford the best doctors, the best nutritionists, the best this and that. And I'm just like, you know what? That's fine. But I'm going to do what I have to do to be back in that ring by October. And, I'm like, no, I don't have the money. I just have faith. And I've got a good support system around me. And I worked my ass off, literally. Being not working at the time really was a blessing and a curse, but I was able to get up in the morning and do my stretches with my resistance bands, do it at lunchtime, during at night before I go to bed. I was doing therapy 3 times a week, and we did that for 6 months straight. But the thing about it is I still showed up to all our trainings, our events and everything, because even though you're not physically able to work, what you see is where you set yourself. And visually learning is the way that I learned myself, and watching the drills, watching the chain drills, watching the moves, watching the footwork, watching how to run the ropes. That was how I was able to retain. So once I was able to get back in there, it'll just be like clockwork. And I mean, granted, like I was hobbling, because I think actually, the day after I had surgery, we had a seminar with D'Lo Brown. And I'm like, I am not missing this. I will hobble my ass all the way into this thing. But I'm not missing like a lecture by a seminar with D'Lo Brown. And the rest is history from there. By grace, I was able to meet my goal. And once I had that doctor, my surgeon told me, oh, you're good to go. Just be cautious, but you're good to go. Go back to your normal routine, but listen to your body. And I didn't even expect to be, because they had already had the script written out for Shocktober, but the writers and Yada, they were just like, hey, so we want you to keep recovering, so knock off the ring rust, but we want you to do this and that with Triumphant. And I'm just like, and the thing about it is Corrente and Rochelle, they vouched for me. I didn't even know they like my skills like that, my mic skills and my presence. They're like, we want Remy. And that was just like the best thing ever, like, because they are well-seasoned veterans in the company. They are well-seasoned. I mean, they're up, their caliber is platinum. So for them to single out me and say, yeah, we want Remy in our group, like, no, because I think someone else asked me, like, no, we got him. so that also added pressure a little bit, but good pressure for me to be able to be polished enough to stand alongside them. And like I said, over the summer, I had so much time to create sketches, to create different looks, to have some things made by a good friend of mine as far as gear wise, where I wanted Remy how to be presented, straight out the gate. It's going to be something different. It's going to be something they've never seen before in this organization. It's not like anything else. It's going to be a remedy, really, very much so. And come Shocktober, it's like I called my FaceTime my mom, and I was like getting a little teary eyed. I'm like, I wish both my dads could be here to see this. And they're like, they're there. They got the high rise seats.
Yeah,
she said. But it was just confirmation that everything happens in its timing, and I just feel so much more aware of who I am, not only as a entertainer but as an athlete, and now becoming a wrestler. It's just like my vision is like 2020 now. It's taking tools, from therapy to kind of keep those in line every single day. Mental health is a daily job, a daily task. But I'm thankful that I have people around me that help hold me accountable when I'm having those moments now, where so I don't have to have those dark days again like I had at the beginning of the year. But yeah, I debuted at Shocktober, and people's reactions were quite funny. I had to watch back the broadcast, just looking at the audience reactions, and it's like I sneaked out like the jester, like the hair raising herald that I am, and there were these girls in the front row. They're like, who the hell is this guy? Because I had the hood on. And then I guess they didn't know if I was like a fan that jumped the rail or something. But then I did like my little contortionist like thing into the ring. And then my hood just fell off, which was perfect because I didn't want to take it off. And then I kind of snatched the, well, not snatched, but I kind of pushed the announcer out of the way and then take the mic. And from then on, it was on. It was on. And I didn't know what to expect, but I got the blues that I wanted to get, but I didn't know if I was going to get, because you never know if you're going to get crickets or not. But the crowd hated me. Well, excuse me, they hated me. And I was like, yes, I think I'm getting over. Yeah. I think I'm getting over. And yeah, that was the genesis of Remy. Stay buckled up because this only gets better from here on out.
Well, let me just tell you, that's one heck of a story. Of course, myself, I've been here witnessing it from the beginning. Our friendship started right around that same timeline. We've been here for you, from day one. We've seen you come full circle. In my eyes, I've seen you become from just a regular athlete, a nice person, to an outstanding man and an outstanding athlete with a huge, bright future in front of him. We could reach back and talk about a conversation that you and I had a long time ago when Mike Bennett was in town putting on a seminar, and you were very green, and he handpicked you out of a whole entire lineup of athletes there at Rocky Mountain Pro to pull you aside and encourage you on something that you never thought you could possibly pull off. And it's a feel-good story to me to see where you are right now as we sit here 1 week away from one of the coolest holidays, in my opinion, Thanksgiving, to come from the valleys, like we said, of the lows, to have all them awful thoughts and have all that heartache from the family, to go through the tear of the ACL or the tear of the Achilles, to all the way building yourself back up through therapy, and right here making that debut just 2 weeks ago at Shocktober, and now tonight possibly continuing on. Man, it's been so cool to witness this, Remy, and I cannot wait to see what the future holds for you, my friend. Before I let you go, though, I gotta ask the very last thing. If there's anyone out there in the same shoes, same situation, or can just plain old relate, if you had any good advice, what would you tell them, bud?
To put it simply, I just like to keep it very simple. When the elevator to success is out of order, use the damn stairs.
Amen. Amen, my friend. Amen. Well, before I get you out of here one last time, folks, where can they find you at?
Yeah, you guys can find me on social media, mostly my Instagram. It is Remy D official. That is REMYD_official. I'm on Instagram. I'm starting to be a little bit more active on Twitter as well. Same thing, Remy D official. Yeah, I'm excited for tonight. That's a remedy for you. You never know what remedy you're gonna get, what look you're gonna get, and that's the excitement about it. Also, I want to give a shout out to Taya Bakri, formerly known as Frankie Monet. Support her brand, y'all, her local brand, y'all, Loca. When I say go over to her website, this stuff is so comfortable, good quality. Now, people know I'm very picky about good quality. I hate those two sisters, Polly and Esther. So they're so uncomfortable. But yeah, go ahead and support her brand. Her stuff is awesome. The drip, the fit is just immaculate. Yeah.
All right, you heard it first from Remy Dee, folks. Once again, check him out. Going down Rocky Mountain Pro tonight. Charge tapings, free of charge. Don't miss out. If you can't be there, check him out. It's the best wrestling on Twitch, Rocky Mountain Pro. And once again, I thank you so much for that great story.
You're welcome.
We can't wait to have you back right here on the E's and B's. Once again, folks, from Fort Collins, Colorado, I give to you, everybody needs one, Remy Dee. Thanks, my man.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You bet.